I didn't expect everyone to like my book when it was published, but I didn't think it would make people mad. But I've since learned that sometimes people don't not like your work. They consider it an offense. This is in the days when Amazon was kind of a new thing, and as a first-time novelist, I thought it would be fun to read what people had said about my book. I don't read any reviews anymore, but definitely not Amazon ones. But one of them said that it was like an MFA exercise. It read like an MFA exercise, and that really hurt because it was an MFA exercise. I was giving myself, an MFA graduate student, an exercise on how to write a goddamn novel. I was in graduate school, and I knew I wanted to write a novel. I've always kind of had a taste for long projects of other kinds, but up until that point, as a writer, I'd only tried short stories. Or that's not quite true. I did write a novel, but it was really bad, and I didn't do anything with it. But I enjoyed the experience of writing it, even though it didn't work out. So I wanted to write a novel that I hope would be my first published novel. I got this idea just, I think, watching a plane fly overhead while walking across campus. And I'd gotten this idea about a guy surviving a plane crash and no one knowing it. At the time, it was as ambitious a book as I think I was capable of writing. In those days, I was much less confident in the process. So I made, I think it was about 25 single-space page outlines, so that every day when I sat down, I knew exactly what I was going to write. It didn't leave a lot of room for inspiration, I suppose, but inspiration isn't trustworthy anyway. So yeah, if the book seems a little schematic, that's why. It's because I in fact had a schematic that I was working off of. And I was writing on this Brother word processor with the detachable keyboard and the integral clattering daisy wheel printer. When it printed, it would be clackety, 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 and it would take a really long time to print out anything. And I think it took about 8 months to write the first draft. I sent query letters out to literary agents, and one of them told me to go ahead and send it when it was finished. So I did, and she represented me and sold the book. I remember seeing the book cover for the first time, and it's a really nice book cover. I thought it fit the book really well. It wasn't anything that I could have imagined on my own, and it was eye-catching in a bookstore. I think that's the first time it felt like a real thing. When I saw what it was going to look like to other people who were seeing it for the first time. And Back to the Future, when the father gets his box of science fiction novels and opens it up and everyone's very happy. It's like I wanted that moment, and it does come, that you do get the box of books and there they are. But you've seen so many gradual iterations of it up to that point. It's more like, well, there it is, pretty much just what I was expecting, And by that time, if you're lucky, you're on to another project that is sort of commanding your attention. So that catharsis that one might hope for if one is fantasizing about writing and publishing a novel never happens, but the pleasures that you do get, at least in my experience, are deeper and more satisfying than that. The process is deeply pleasurable for me, but once it's out in the open, once the book is in the hands of other people, it's frightening and alienating. One thing I didn't expect is that even positive reviews would make me feel terrible about myself. The feeling of being seen and talked about is both flattering and horrifying. The work you do comes from a particular place in yourself, and it means certain things to you, and people are never going to get that. So even if they like it, there's this sense that they're liking it wrong. And you can't say out loud, no, you're liking my book wrong. Thank you for the glowing review. However, I'm very disappointed in your interpretation of my work. There's a little part of myself that feels that way even with a positive review, and it's a rare one that really gets at what was interesting to me about the book. Of course, ultimately, it doesn't matter what's interesting to me about the book. There was a hope that I could write a bestseller. No one ever said that to me, but I think that was the expectation. And of course, like almost everyone else, it didn't pan out. My career's panned out fine, but I think the book sold about 80,000 copies, and they thought, okay, that's a really great first effort, and next time it's going to be 500,000. but next time was actually about 10,000. Your first book is the thing that your entire life has gone up to creating. And then all you do from then on is just do that again over and over in different ways. In retrospect, I vastly prefer this phase of my career where I know I can do this thing. It's a pleasure. I don't feel like things are going to fall apart if I don't do it perfectly the first time. The thing I always tell my students is your novel is always perfect until you write the first sentence, and then it's ruined forever. But I think the key is accepting that the thing you actually get is its own thing. You can't preemptively decide upon the correct way for your book to be. You have to kind of discover it. I actually have all the letters rejecting the book from other publishers. Dial Press says, "The novel seemed a bit uneven to me." HarperCollins, "Several of my colleagues felt the book was not as compelling as they'd hoped." Simon & Schuster, "Good luck finding a home for it elsewhere." Here's Doubleday said, "The story just wasn't sticking to my ribs." Random House, "This doesn't seem to be my music." FSG, "While it clearly has commercial appeal, it simply failed to strike a personal chord."